Just before Christmas 1980, as Britain slept under a thick blanket of fog and frost, something descended into the cold winter woods of Suffolk that would challenge the nation's definition of reality forever. This is the story of Rendlesham Forest in the dead of night. Beyond the twin RAF bases of Woodbridge and Bentwaters, then under American control, soldiers on patrol saw strange lights. They were moving through the trees, pulsing with an unnatural rhythm. Red, blue, white. These weren't aircraft lights. They weren't flares. This was something else entirely. For decades, officials dismissed it as nonsense. But the eyewitnesses, trained U.S. airmen, still speak with a tremor in their voices about what they saw. It all began on December 26th. Patrolman John Burroughs and Jim Peniston spotted a glowing object that appeared to have landed just beyond the perimeter fence. Thinking it was a downed aircraft, they went to investigate. As they entered the forest, the air itself seemed to change. A palpable static charge lifted the hair on their arms. The usual night sounds of the foresty animals. The rustling leaves fell, eerily silent. Then, through the swirling fog, they saw it. A triangular craft, about 9 feet long, resting silently on the forest floor. Its surface was smooth, black, and etched with symbols that shimmered as if made of molten glass. Driven by a mix of duty and sheer disbelief, Peniston reached out and touched one of the symbols. In that single instant, his mind was flooded with a torrent of information, a seemingly endless stream of binary code. Ones and zeros that he couldn't understand but couldn't forget. He later transcribed them into his notebook, pages filled with a message he couldn't read. Back at the base, the men were visibly shaken, their eyes unfocused. Their radios blared with static and interference. Commanders tried to dismiss their report, suggesting they'd simply been confused by the lights from the nearby Orford Ness lighthouse. But the story wasn't over. The very next night, the lights returned. This time, the deputy base commander himself, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Holt, decided to see what was happening. He took a small group of men and a microcassette recorder into the forest, intending to debunk the story once and for all. His voice, captured in real time on that tape, would become one of the most chilling and compelling pieces of audio evidence in UFO history. "It's back again. That it is." You can hear him whisper. He describes beams of light shooting down from the craft, not randomly, but directly into the weapons storage area bunker where, at the height of the Cold War, nuclear ordnance was held. A silent, unknown object was methodically scanning a NATO nuclear weapons facility. Was this an inspection? A warning? The British Ministry of Defense launched a quiet investigation. Their official report concluded there was no threat to national security, and the case was promptly closed. But documents released years later under the Freedom of Information Act tell a different story. They showed radiation readings at the alleged landing site were far above normal background levels. Plaster casts taken of the ground revealed 3 distinct imprints, forming a perfect triangle, exactly where the craft's landing gear would have been. Trees facing the clearing were scorched, but only on one side, as if exposed to a directed, intense heat. Yet, the official explanation remained the same. Lighthouse lights, bright stars, and mass hysteria. If it was just a lighthouse, why were the audio tapes classified for nearly 30 years? Why did the US Air Force allegedly confiscate official logs, photographs, and witness statements within hours of the incident? The men involved were told to forget what they saw. Some claim they were debriefed under hypnosis. Others recall bright rooms and periods of missing time. Then, in 2010, Peniston's notebook, the binary code he had frantically scribbled down, was analyzed by computer experts. The results were staggering. The code contained a series of geographic coordinates pointing to ancient significant sites around the world. The Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, the Nazca Lines in Peru, and even the mythical island of Hy-Brasil, which was once believed to exist in the Atlantic Ocean west of Ireland. And it didn't stop there. The code also contained a message, a simple but profound phrase: exploration of humanity continuous for planetary advance. Who or what would communicate in such a way? A map of our own past, delivered by an unknown intelligence. Skeptics point out that astronomers in the area were tracking meteor activity that night, But no meteor lands gracefully, leaves triangular imprints, and fires precision beams of light. Locals recall the forest being alive with a strange, electric hum for nights afterward. Dogs refused to go near the woods, and some people reported a metallic taste in the air. Decades later, some of the veterans involved still suffer from nightmares and post-traumatic stress, plagued by flashes of light behind their closed eyes. Some developed unexplained health issues. One even claimed his watch stopped permanently at 3:15 a.m., the exact time of his contact with the craft. Skeptics argue that memory can be distorted over time, but Halt's audio tape remains an unaltered real-time account. Now we're seeing what looks like a beam coming down to the ground. His voice cracks as he describes the scene. This was a seasoned, decorated officer, not a man prone to fantasy. He measured, he documented, he was afraid. Why would career soldiers risk their reputations to fabricate such an elaborate story? The Mode quietly filed the incident under Defense Report Number the 31st of December AD. Journalists later nicknamed it Britain's Roswell. But in truth, this event was more controlled, more clinical. There was no crash, no debris, no BODAS-only data. But that data hints at something intelligent observing our most sensitive military operations during a precarious moment in human history. Radar operators from nearby RAF Watton logged anomalies. That same night blips that appeared and vanished. At impossible speeds, pilots flying over the North Sea reported being paced by orange spheres, but those reports were quickly buried in bureaucracy. When the BBC finally aired interviews about the incident in the 1990s, public fascination exploded. Rendlesham Forest became a pilgrimage site for ufologists, seekers, and skeptics alike. Tourists now walked the trails where the craft supposedly landed, most unaware that they'd tread on soil that once shimmered like glass, and where Geiger counters still tick just a little faster than they should. In 2019, newly declassified U.S. Air Force memos revealed that the Bentwaters base had been under satellite surveillance at the time of the incident. One heavily redacted line mentions a possible aerial incursion. Non-hostile, non-identified, trivector signature. To this day, no one in any official capacity will explain what a trivector signature is. But the men who were there say they know exactly what it describes. The shape of the craft, perhaps the strangest element of all, remains Peneston's binary message. When he later underwent regression hypnosis to recall more details of the encounter, he made a shocking claim. The beings he encountered weren't from another planet. They were, he said, us from the future. Time travelers, returning to study their own origins. Is that just science fiction? Perhaps. But some theoretical physicists admit that binary code transmitted via light could, in theory, carry vast amounts of quantum-encoded data. Did Rendlesham Forest witness an experiment that was not extraterrestrial, but temporal? Whatever descended into those woods, it left behind more questions than answers. It left a story of official denial, missing evidence, and altered reports, all the classic hallmarks of and yet, the witnesses remain. Colonel Halt, now retired, still insists this was something of unknown origin. He doesn't say alien. He only says unknown, and perhaps that is the most truthful word we have. What landed in Rendlesham Forest? A craft, a probe, a test, or was it a mirror, showing us just how little we truly know about the world we inhabit? After all these years, the forest still seems to hum with a quiet tension. The soil has been turned and the trees have regrown, but the air itself seems to remember. The lights in the woods never truly went out. They just became a part of Britain's most compelling and unsolved modern mystery. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. We'll see you in the next one.